Thank you, everyone, for bearing with our delays and technical difficulties and my clumsiness. And thank you for coming to Scream Queens Women of Color and Horror at GeekGirlCon. My name is Marina Martinez. I am stepping in as moderator for this panel. So bear with us as we go, unless this is the moderator right here. Is it? Yes, yay! Okay, I'm gonna be handing this off to the actual moderator, Rachel.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. My power went out this morning. But it's good to be here. It's good to see you all. My name is Rachél Bazelais. I'm a local game dev. And I'm here filling in for Mia. She couldn't make it because things, flights and things. But hello.
Hi, we're happy to have you.
So sorry. So, let me pull out the notes. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Thank you so much for your patience. Okay. Yay. I was so worried. This is great. Has everyone gone and introduced themselves?
We should
Not
do
yet.
that now,
We can.
probably.
That
I'll go
would be
first.
great.
My name is Lily Meade. I am an author of speculative fiction. My first book, The Shadow Sister, came out with Sourcebooks Fire in June of 2023. And my most recent release is an official Scooby-Doo novel called The Hex Girls, A Rogue Thorn. It came out in August, and it's been doing pretty well. People seem to like it. And I'm very excited to be here and to chat with you guys today.
Okay, hey, my name is Gigi Murakami. I am a 2-time award-nominated horror manga artist and illustrator. And I am best known for my supernatural horror manga, Resenter, which was published in Viz last October. In the YA section of graphic novels, or I guess mine is middle school grade, but I worked on a book called Sinister Sisters with the Are You Afraid of the Dark IP through Abrams Books, which came out this year, January. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, can you hear me? Yay! I am Isis Asare with Sistah Scifi. I'm also the executive director of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association. I'm less of a creator and more of a reader and a curator. So I'm like the person on the panel representing the voice of the reader. I'm really excited to be here. This is my first GeekGirlCon, so shout out to whoever else is also their first con.
It's
too.
awesome.
Woo!
All right, so let's get started. I guess the first thing that I would love to ask you all is what inspired you to write, create, curate in the horror genre? Was it something you were passionate about, or did it call out to you?
I can start.
Lovely.
I have been a fan of horror since I was very young. I have ADHD, so horror is like a very high dopamine sort of thing, which it just has always kept me entertained and like kept my attention since I was very young. So when I was a kid, I used to be that annoying little sister to like hide when my sister would come home from work and like pop out and try to scare her. So it's just always been something that I've enjoyed. I used to watch like Tales from the Crypt when I was a kid. Started reading horror manga pretty young, younger than I probably should have been reading it, to be honest. So yeah, I think it was always a line for me to work on horror.
That's awesome. I totally relate to that. I'm a huge horror fan. All I do is October is like Christmas for me.
It is my busiest month. 100%.
Would anyone else like to?
I can go next. It's funny for me, like writing in horror is also the way I discovered that I was doing it was somebody else telling me that I was doing it, which was the exact same way that I found out that I was good at writing in the first place. I started writing fan fiction as a teenager, and people were like, "Oh, you're really good at this," and I was like, "Oh, I am? Okay, I guess I got my career figured out." And when I got my first book deal, my publisher started promoting me as like a brand new horror author, and I was texting my friends, I'm like, "Am I a horror author?" And then they just started listing the creepy stuff that happens in my book. And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I like to say that my books will probably keep you up until you finish them, but then you won't have nightmares afterwards. But like looking back after it was pointed out to me, I'm like, "Oh, of course I like increasing this sense of dread, because part of the reason I write, like my writing motto is life inspired by fiction, taking like real world issues and making them larger than life, because you can't defeat like racism and poverty in real life, but you can defeat a villain. So like I'm working through things that I can't defeat in real life in fiction, and that tends to sometimes be scary."
I love that.
Yeah, no, I love Lily's insights. I think for me, I've always been attracted to anything otherworldly and speculative. Like as a Black queer woman of color growing up in the U.S., like real worlds can feel very disempowering. And then I love looking at anything through a cultural lens. So as Lily says, like with horror, there are monsters that could be slayed. There are monsters, like there's rules to the universe that the protagonist often figures out. And that felt much more empowering than everyday life. And then as I began to read extensively in this space, like Tiana Reeve Dew has like a great quote, like Black history is Black horror. And sometimes it's, you know, as hard as Dew's books can sometimes be, it's much easier to read the reformatory than read the history books at times. So I think it's been a very powerful way for me to look at some of my personal trauma and my cultural trauma and find ways to feel empowered by that. It's almost like reading horror has been, a sense, a gift of healing and an opportunity for resilience.
Oh, I love that so much, especially because at times, like, even if you're just like reading literature from history, it is brutal, and horror can be a release of sorts, and also bringing the real into what can be defeated, what can be overcome, how it can be overcome. So it's very cathartic that I find. Thank you so much for your answers. So I would love to ask, who are your role models in the horror space? Like, which authors, artists, and creators inspire you?
For me, this is something that's like evolving with me, because like I said, I didn't realize that this was like part of the subgenre of what I write until after I'd already been gotten a book deal. So I've been like embracing studying horror more, because one thing about me is I love improving my craft. I love learning, and so like a whole new thing to research, amazing. I do say I really, really love, it's not fiction, but I love Jordan Peele so much. If eventually I could be described as like a female Jordan Peele, that would be a dream. I really love how he does similar to what I've described of taking like real world issues and then making them just so huge and entertaining and cathartic at the same time. Like I didn't realize Nope would make me afraid of clouds.
Goals.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also really like Jordan Peele's work. And thinking about this question, because I'm a manga girly, a lot of my answers are like horror mangaka, like Junji Ito, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Kazuo Umezu, Hideshi Hino, who is actually the first manga, like his work was the first manga I ever read. If you search up Panorama of Hell, that was the first manga I ever read. It is not for a 7-year-old at all. But when I think about this question, I am also like a big movie girly as well. So like Jordan Peele for sure. people like Ari Aster, a lot of different horror people.
There's some really great stuff going on in film horror lately.
100% in film horror, and I love film. So, yeah, I would definitely say Jordan Peele as well, Ari Aster. There are a few movies that inspire or influence me, but definitely for creators, the creators I named for sure, I think would be some of my biggest influences.
Awesome.
I bet you're gonna have like a ton of people to say because you're so well read.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, y'all's lists are so amazing. So I'm like, how do I curate this in my head? So off the top, we prepped for the questions, but I did most of my homework. So off the top, my list is going to be mostly women and Black and Indigenous women in the horror space. And I'm going to do it mostly literature in some movies and television shows, focus on literature. So I recently fell in love with like short stories, because before I was like, I want to read a book. I want to read it for like the rest of my life. But I'm recently short stories. So like The Black Girl Survives in this one. The editors of that did such a great job in bringing like such a wonderful collection of short stories. So if you haven't read it, please read it. Just on the cover alone, the cover is beautiful. Tamika Thompson. So Tamika Thompson has a book, The Curse of Hester Gardens, which comes out next year, and she's also done a couple of short story collections, and she's great at intersectional horror. So brings in like being a person of color, being a woman, working class, like all types of social issues into horror, which I find super powerful. And I love the trajectory of her career. So she started off as a journalist, and like her first couple of books were published by like indie publishers. And now she has like her latest book will be from a traditional publisher, Vincent Torrado.
I love Vincent.
Vincent is so good. And the thing is that like Vincent's stuff will like, the horror is rooted in like Vincent's anxiety, which triggers my anxiety. So I'm very anxious, and I'm also very scared, and I'm also very worried about the characters. But Vincent is so funny, right? So you're like, I am like, yeah, I'm like either about to like have a panic attack or laugh out loud. I'm not quite sure what it is. Yeah. And I love that. And I think Vincent is a good example. Like horror people are like the most upbeat, energetic, happy people. I was like, like I was in tears, and like, so that's the literary space. In terms of movies, the woman who did The Nanny and Suicide by Sunlight, which I'm blanking on her name, but y'all know who I'm talking about? Anyway, Google Suicide by Sunlight. That was her indie short. It's about a vampire, and then like The Nanny is streaming on Netflix. She's super brilliant. And then for television shows, the showrunner for The Walking Dead, Angela Kang, I don't know if she counts, but like...
She totally counts.
Thank you. I think I watched every episode of every spinoff of The Walking Dead. I'm like, why do I do this to myself? And The Walking Dead just, it teaches you I can be resilient. Like, I don't know what my strategy is for the zombie apocalypse, but like watching like characters like
Mine
Michonne.
is to stick with my mom. I recently, like, I have this app on my phone that tells me when like shows I like go on sale so that I can buy them.
Yeah.
And the entire series of Walking Dead went on sale for like $30
wow.
a couple weeks ago. And when I bought it and told Mom, bragging about my deal, she was like, "We should watch it." And I was like, "I didn't think you would be interested in that." But she's hooked on it now, and she doesn't think that she'd be good in a zombie apocalypse, but she's like so pragmatic. Like it's scary. Like the first time somebody lost an important like family member to being bitten or something, they were like crying over the corpse before it'd come back, and my mom was like, "You need to shoot her in the head and move on.
Keep moving." Right. And you need the pragmatic, yes, you need the pragmatic people who are like, we got to keep going. We have to have supplies.
Yeah.
You cannot trust this person, right? Like, so yes,
Yeah.
The
follow
rule
the right
is always
people.
double
Yes.
tap.
Yes.
Double tap.
Yeah.
And who watches and reads all the things, who are not like, I don't understand what's happening. It's like, didn't you read the book? We should know what's happening. So yes, I'm with you. So that's my list. Thank you.
You forgot to not review.
I did say, oh my God.
You were saying you were going to say that.
I
so
know,
many times.
I know. Good
I
on
was
me.
waiting for her to drop it.
And Tiana Redo. Tiana, like my answer for everything for the rest of this panel is Tiana Redo. So just know that. Thank you.
That was great. Oh my goodness. So fear comes in many forms, and with everything that's been changing in women's rights in the last 3 years, like with Roe v. Wade being overturned, and given the political and cultural ramifications that have come from all of that, how can we use horror to digest all of this? Like, does it shine a light in a dark world or warn us of what could come to pass?
I think a little bit of both. But just to carry on from the comment that Isis said about how horror people are typically like really like happy, like kind, optimistic people. That's something that's always really funny is because I have like a really good online social media presence. And part of that is like a big fandom for like Taylor Swift. So when I tell people that I'm a novelist, they're thinking that like I write like rom-coms and stuff, and I'm like, oh no. I wrote a book about a girl who her sister goes missing, and the opening line of the book is, my sister is a bitch, but that doesn't mean I want her dead. And then I just had a short story published in an anthology last month, and like the main character cuts off her toe and feeds it to a dog. So people look at me, and I'm like in these pretty dresses, swirling around with my Taylor Swift phone case, and I'm like, read my very, very upsetting book. But I think that comes from like, I come from a background of like extreme poverty, and I'm currently homeless after being priced out of Tacoma. Our rent went from $500 to $2,000 overnight. And the only reason we were able to afford it for so long is because I got my first book deal literally like a week later. But even that wasn't enough. Even getting a massive book deal and achieving my career dream wasn't enough to prevent me from becoming homeless again. And that's been like a very brutal thing for me to deal with. And it's weird to come to events like this, be up here and like instead of the audience, like people look at me and like I have books, I have an official Scooby-Doo book, and they're like, "Oh, you must be doing great." But like I go home to sleep in a camper in the woods. So I think a lot of horror people are like positive people because you kind of have no choice. You have to believe that there is better out there. You have to believe that you can defeat the villains. You have to believe that evil can be slain, and that there's a point to all the pain. Otherwise, you just give up.
Right, because hope is necessary.
Yeah.
Hope is necessary for any kind of liberation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, again, I'm so sorry for your situation. I can relate to having to move because I had to move my apartment, me and my husband, because we were priced out. Our rent went up $800, and we're in New York City. So
Congratulations on the new mayor.
Yeah, thank you.
There
We
you
needed
go.
that.
Mom Donnie.
Help with the rent a bit.
Shout out to Mom Donnie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I relate to that. But I think that what horror does super well is allowing you to have that catharsis when things go bad or when things are already bad. And I know we've been saying a lot that like reality is worse than the horror that we are engaging in. But the way that I like to see it sometimes is that sometimes the horror is worse, and that's where the catharsis comes from. It's like, okay, I am going through this thing, but I can stay positive because I know that like I don't have to deal with like Freddy Krueger or something like that, right?
Right.
Like at least I can go to sleep.
Right. That's actually part of the reason that I do actually would like to write some like rom-coms, some lighter fare, but I have a hard time writing stories without life or death stakes because my life is already so stressful. I'm like, if I can't relate to the struggles my characters are going through,
It's gonna
why would
be
I write about it?
hollow.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think I do think that makes sense. That like, because I also coming from like a working class background, I grew up in poverty as well, and since I was a kid, I mentioned like I loved horror, and I think it's because I don't have to think about this moment that I'm in. I can escape to this place that is way worse. And if these characters that are like in this predicament that's way worse than what I'm in, and they can make it through, not everybody, but they can make it through, then that gives me some hope and some catharsis about my own situation to like keep going and to not give up.
And I think agreed. And like hearing your stories, the bigger monster than the vampire, which vampires can also be kind of hot, is vulnerability, right? And I think a lot of good horror, you get to experience the vulnerability of our main character. You also get to experience the vulnerability of like the villain, right? Good horror really makes you question. Yes. Like with Sinners, like Remick, you're like, I'm not really trying to mess with him.
Don't get me started on Sinners, or we're gonna go over time.
But
That is true.
But he gets to be humanized, right? I don't want to have coffee with him, but I guess I could understand, like,
I might have coffee with him.
I would
That's-
absolutely have coffee with him. I would have gone outside like immediately.
no.
I was with Stack and Mary. Yep, 100%.
You know, I was kind of twisted because I was just like, I tell people, like I say at conferences, if you know somebody that's a vampire, look, sign me up. Like, never getting sick, not aging, like not dying. It seems like just the whole
being
drinking
hot
blood
and
thing.
eventually rich, like
Yeah,
like if you're like a 200 or older vampire and you're not rich, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Honestly,
Like,
You'll figure this out. I was like, and I can figure out the blood thing. I'm a pretty, So I'm just like, so if any of y'all know a vampire, just like this, look, I'm like, sign me up. I'm ready. Like, let them know Isis Asare is full consent to be a vampire.
Y'all are built different. I said coffee. I'm not going outside, but like we can have coffee.
No. I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do this.
That's even funny because it's like the attraction of generational wealth that is like just, okay, I'm 200 years old. Do you understand what my compounding interest would be?
100%.
And there's just so much. I mean, like, imagine if you like were living 500, 1,000 years, what you could do, the changes that you could like initiate and watch happen, like societal changes.
I am so upset that I was born too early to go into space. Yeah. Like, if I can't go into space right now because, like, I didn't get all the education, and they'd look at, like, my health issues, and they'd be like, nah, but, like, in 100 or so years, people will be doing, like, commercial trips, and that would be me. Like, Star Trek is like, please, take me up there.
You just pull a whole William Shatner there and just go up there and be like,
Yeah, he went up there and he was like, no. Which is really funny because lots of people who aren't like astronauts, if they get the chance to go up into space, they say it like changes their entire perspective on like humanity and life and like and everything. But they sent William Shatner up there, who's known for Star Trek, and he was like, we need to stay on Earth.
he was like, we only get one planet, y'all. There's nothing. It's a big dark.
Up there. He's like, it was awful. You see nothing. It felt me with this deep sense of existential dread.
It's very
allegedly. Don't quote us on this.
Yeah.
It's very the 3 body problem. So yeah.
All right. Oh, that was such a. I'm so sorry y'all are going through that, but I'm also going through it. Like I'm being priced out of my house.
This is the horror panel. We're
The
not going
horror
to be talking
panel.
about like really upbeat topics.
Oh goodness. But I guess to pivot a little bit. So in having this conversation, like what is the most rewarding part of writing and reading horror? And then on the flip side, what's the most challenging part?
The most rewarding part is seeing people's reactions when they hit your like most oh my god moment. I love when people read The Shadow Sister, my first book, because I know exactly when they reach the scene that I wrote the whole book for. Because if they know me personally enough to message me, or even if they just message me online, they'll just be like, oh my god, you evil person, you. I can't believe you did this. Like, oh. And I'm just like, yay, this is so awesome. I love it when this happens. And what's so funny is that there's like a couple smaller moments in the book. So like people reach that scene, a scene, and they'll be like, oh, this must be it. And they'll be like, wow, that was really messed up. And I'm like, honey, You've got a big storm coming.
I think the most rewarding part of making horror is, on top of like reactions, fan reactions, I kind of just get to live my dream, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't start working in horror. I've been doing art for a long time, but I didn't get into manga and comics, manga specifically, until about 2018. So I feel like I'm still quite new in this space, but I've always wanted to do it. I just never thought that I could. A lot of like voices in my head about like, you know, who is qualified to be a mangaka versus who is not. And I didn't think I fit those qualifications. So a lot of negative self-talk on my end. But in working on it, it's finally like now, like, wow, I can actually do this. I have like, you know, a little home studio set up where I can get my work done, and I can talk to all of these people, and like the people who are publishing these books and the people that are working there. Some of the manga, I'm able to like talk to them and ask them questions and take that feedback back to my table, and like, this is my dream. So I can live my dream out. And I find that to be incredibly rewarding, because I didn't even think I could do it at first. The most challenging part in creating horror, in my opinion, is having to navigate the feelings of the characters that you're in and making sure that I'm taking care of myself while I'm in that space. So my story, Resenter, first of all, a lot of my stories tend to be pretty introspective. Not all the time, but they're either coming from my own personal fears, or usually it's coming from my own personal fears. Some are more serious than others. Like I have a short story called Wash and Go, and it's about my anxieties about having my hair done at a hairdresser, because I don't like people touching my head when my eyes close. And that's more like silly light. Resenter is a lot more introspective, and it's talking about feelings of resentment and revenge, and a lot of like negative feelings that came up that I was working through during the pandemic. And because my therapist was also going through some things, I was like, let me put these feelings into a story. And so learning how to navigate sitting in those dark thoughts so that you can get it on paper and get it done for the story, but then like also trying to balance that and like come back from those dark thoughts so that you can be mentally well and healthy and like take a break from that space is the most challenging. And because Resenter was created during the pandemic, it was literally just me, my husband, and my dog. So at that particular time, it was very difficult. I don't think it will ever be that difficult for me to create a horror story unless we have another pandemic again. But since I can go outside and like go to a cafe or something and see people, but definitely navigating that headspace of like, I'm in the world, it's heavy, I am pulling these personal feelings out and putting it into this world, you know, and it's very heavy here, but then being able to pull back at the end of the day, take a breath, go eat some junk food, and like cuddle with my dog.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the biggest thing is whether or not you're like emotionally ready to tackle those issues that you want to explore. Like I said, I've been wanting to do like a romance. I have an idea for like a housing activist like centered romance. But every time I like feel myself going towards it, like I'm like, I don't know if I want to be writing a happy ending every day. But then I also have like a housing-centered horror idea. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to be making myself that depressed about what I'm going through. So I was like, wait, what if I plot both books? And I decide to write them both at the same time. And I just decide what I'm feeling each day. Do I want to burn the world down, or do I want to imagine a happy ending? Because you have to like respect yourself, or you're gonna burn out. And like if you're not enjoying yourself, or if you're not ready to approach something emotionally, you see it in the work. It's not just harder to do; the work is less good.
Yeah, and I think Downey Do, when when she was writing The Reformatory, which is a very hard book, like in general, right? For anybody who's familiar with like institutional slavery in the U.S., institutional racism in the U.S. And then, like, a lot of the characters are based on her family members. And I'm like, how did you take care of yourself while writing this book? And she's like, that's why it took me so long to write this book. Like, I needed to take breaks. I did a whole lot of other projects while writing this book because it was hard psychologically. I just on a Black person in America, but like one character represented like her great aunt, like one character represented like her dad makes a cameo, right? It was very real for her. For me, what I enjoy about curating and reading horror is like, it's like a test run for dealing with stuff in the real world. It's like we had a collective experience to Sinners. I don't know who's read Clay's Arc by Octavia Butler. Okay.
It's on my list.
Yeah, for those of you who've read it,
Also on the list.
there's one scene that's like crazy, right? I was like, what was happening? Octavia Butler, one of her friends was dying of cancer when she wrote it. So there was a lot of, like you were saying, with like going through, like using your artistic expression for therapeutic purposes. That's what Octavia Butler was doing. And then I was like, I feel like I need therapy to, but anyway, but like when I talk about that scene with people, like collectively we can hold each other, right? When we talk about The Walking Dead and some of the scenes we collect, like we can talk about like, what is the best strategy for a zombie apocalypse, right? It's like a test run that we can then, like with people who've read Parable of the Sower, like it's not classified as horror, but there's some horrific stuff that happens in that book. And we can begin to think like, how do we collectively hold each other? And to me, that's really powerful. The hardest thing about reading horror or like discussing horror in community is that the vampire, the monster, the it from the swamp is not the stand-in for Black people, for queer people, for Indigenous people, for women, for disabled people, for fat people, for short, like it's not. Like it's the vampire, right? And what is the stand-in for those populations is the Black person, the woman, the queer person, exactly. If you're a creator and you want to put those populations in your book, put those populations in those books, do it with respect and care. But put them in, like the alien, the vampire, is not the stand-in. That's the most difficult thing for me.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
Go
I relate to that. The more that I started getting into like actually creating narratives around horror, the more I started struggling with the history of horror in this country and how those stand-ins, and I knew that about like alien movies from the 1950s, right? Like it's like invasion, like fear of immigration and that kind of thing. But like to see how deep the rabbit hole goes on that was like really eye-opening for me when I started. So I was like, yeah, I 100% feel you. That is a challenging thing to get through. When your eyes are open to that and you see it happening all the time in these different horror works.
Yeah, especially it runs deep. Especially the one of the first big blockbuster films was Birth of a Nation. Like,
Yeah.
that's horror. But it's horror in a sense of like not only just xenophobic, but just like othering an entire population of people and going, this is the enemy.
And just speaking of Birth of the Nation, B. Jelly Clark, I'm hoping, Ring Shout kind of speaks like it's fictionalized, but it's like brings in the history of that time and Birth of the Nation and like kind of like in a very fictional way talks about the societal impact of that movie. And it's funny but it's horrific and it's a short novel, so it's also good.
That was a perfect segue because I was just about to ask you, what's your favorite piece of horror media that kind of showcases women's lived experiences, right? Really good segue.
The way you just finished that, your like favorite piece of horror media, and my brain went sinners, and then you're like, finish. And then you put women's, and I was like, okay, step back. So you have to come back to me once my brain gets off sinners.
So much, but I'll do three. So there's the Gilda Stories by Jewel Gomez. It was the first published book featuring a Black lesbian vampire because it came out before Fledgling. And what I love the most about it is that usurps vampire lore in a lot of ways, which is really fun. And it gives us an alternative on how to be a vampire. So Jewel is often said that like her vampire is different because she's writing this book with her editor, and her editor says, do you want your main character who's a black lesbian to literally be like a mass murderer? And so then because vampires, and then she went back and then kind of took that feedback and revised how her main character moves in the world. And that insight kind of shows when you read the book. Then recently with Aunt Luke Books, Jewel published Caramel and Carmilla. So it takes like a story that Jewel wrote in response to the very famous Carmilla, which was like the story that kind of birthed the whole vampire lore. And then her response, which is set in the antebellum South. So it's like a really good and thoughtful pairing and speaks to being a woman. So I'll stop there because I feel like that was a lot.
I can go next. One movie that I really like and always come back to for questions like these is I think it's called Birth Rebirth. It is a horror about a woman who loses her daughter. It's these two women. The first woman, she loses her daughter, and then the second woman who, I believe her mother passed. I can't tell you like the details, but the overall like plotting of the movie is it's a Frankenstein sort of setup where this woman who just loses her daughter has a chance to like I'm alive her again basically with this other woman. So that one is really interesting. There is also, I had the other one in my head. Let me skip over. The next one is obviously Tomie from Junjito. Definitely would recommend that one. And then the last movie, or was it a movie? Oh my gosh, I had it in my head and it was gone. I was trying to explain Birth Rebirth and I lost it.
It'll come back around.
I'll come back around. Yeah, come back to me.
And Birth Rebirth makes me think of, I don't know if you watched The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
I just remembered it after you spoke, but yes.
Yeah, which is also like a Frankenstein-esque, but the mad scientist is like this young black girl who lives in like a very black community, right? And I thought that was fascinating, like a fascinating twist on the whole Frankenstein lore.
Got you. And I found my last one, which is Swarm, the show Swarm. I love a bad girl, but it is it's roughly about this girl who is very obsessive about this pop star diva, this Beyonce-like kind of figure. And she kind of just does anything that she can, including murder, to like get to see this pop star diva. And it is very insane. It is beautifully shot, beautifully acted. You almost feel like, I don't know, there's something with this girl that like is highly relatable, but also like very unhinged. But like you can't, it's like the train wreck you can't look away from. But it's a really great show called Swarm.
Nice. Lily, do you have?
Yes, I remembered some that
Awesome.
weren't sinners. So I have, movie-wise, I was thinking of A Quiet Place, Day One.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's got Lupita in it, and she plays this terminally ill woman who's like on like this city field trip with a bunch of other hospice patients when the aliens of that franchise initially come to the planet, and she has to face like she knew she was going to die, but now the world's dead, everybody's dying, and like it's a journey of her trying to reach this really important place to her, and there's this other guy that wants to live, and it's just a very interesting story of like what is there to live for when you know you won't live. I felt like it was a very moving piece. It was also very, very scary. And literature-wise, there's a recent release. It's like a compendium. It's called Feral and Hysterical Women in Horror, and it's just like a bunch of recommendations of different horror books written by women of all different types. And then I had a third. white women, but since we've discussed Jordan Peele a couple times, he's also edited an anthology of black horror called Out There Screaming.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it
So
features work by Tannery Dew.
Somebody get the counter out.
Full circle.
And Kay Jemison, Rebecca Ronhurst.
Yeah,
Like, it's a
it's-
great,
it's,
yes.
It's full of great names, yeah.
All right. We are running out of time. However, I do want to make sure that the audience gets a chance to do Q&A, or we can do more questions. So let's do a show of hands real quick. Would you like Q&A or more questions? Q&A for no. Let's see. Okay. And more questions. All right. More questions does win out, but you can probably find us after the panel, probably outside. So to continue, what's scarier? The things we watch, read, consume, or what's happening in our world right now?
At this moment in the world, 100%. I have a husband who is an immigrant. 100%. I am.
Terrified.
Yeah,
So
I'm
terrified.
terrified.
The president
I am,
is literally fighting for the right to starve people.
Yep.
right.
Yep.
I am also like planning to leave the country for a month. He's
I'm
Japanese.
going to Canada next week.
I'm going to Japan in a few days, and I'm leaving him for a month, and I am terrified. Again, I'm in New York City. We don't play that shit, but at the same time,
You never know. Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah,
And
I'm from New York City, so I already we protect everybody. Like
we
New
do,
Yorkers are
but-
very, very. We're kind, but we're not nice.
but we're not nice.
Yeah. But I appreciate that because, like, I was born in New York. I'm like a New Yorker with a California soul. Like,
You
but
like the
yeah,
open
like they're like
spaces.
New Yorkers are not polite. But if they mess with you, you know, and if they don't, you also know. Yeah.
We got too much stuff to do, but if we see it like something wrong, like we're gonna
We're
do
gonna help.
something about it. But I'm gonna be gone, so normally that would be me in that position, but now he is by himself. So definitely right now.
Well, he has a
also,
dog.
My dog is a Shiba Inu. She is this big. She is not. she's
She
not
can
doing
scream
nothing.
bloody murder.
But like also as somebody who wants to have a child in the future, I know that's not like a popular goal these days.
No,
but
I feel you.
Yeah, my womb is locked down until we have another Democratic president.
Not open for visitors.
Not open for visits. But like as somebody who has these goals and family goals, it is 100% more scary in real life now than in fiction, for me at least.
I feel you. Anyone else?
Thank you. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm used to being the moderator, so tell me to like.
No, I saw it too.
I just read Elisa Cole's When No One Is Watching.
So good.
I think we talked about that. I was like, because it was so real life. And like there are parts where you're like, I'm like, some readers would be like, oh my God, that would never happen. But what Elisa Cole that did, what was so brilliant is that she brought in the history like, nah, I got my receipts. This could actually happen.
100%.
And so I think brilliant horror creators takes what's happening, shows the receipts and like how it could really happen, and makes their fictionalized depiction as terrifying as what's really happening, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for my anxiety, but it is what it is. So
I feel that. I definitely feel that. Lily, Annie?
Did I not answer?
I think you did.
I think I did. Did I say something? What was the question again? I'm sorry, I was too busy with this.
No, the question was, what's scarier, the things we watch, read, or consume, or what's happening in
yeah,
the world right
I was
now? I
just-
think we all just like
Yeah,
went,
it was just agreeing. We were all vibing.
yeah. So for all the up and coming horror enthusiasts, what words of wisdom can you give them to push their craft forward?
I would say don't be afraid to be weird.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be weird. Don't take on too much at the beginning. Start slow. Take care of yourself if you're going to do more introspective work. It can be cathartic, but therapy is not joyful, if that makes sense. Like therapy is not a fun time. So even if the work can be cathartic and therapeutic, it can still be very difficult. So walking in there, starting your horror journey off, knowing those things I think is really important. But also have fun. This is like your work. You know, make it scary to you, make it fun to you, make it enjoyable to you.
Yeah, don't pre-censor yourself. If you think you're going too far, just put it in there,
100%.
let somebody else tell you you're going too far. Usually, my editors are like, can we have more sacrifices? Or can you make this even more unsettling? And I'm always like, yeah, I'd be happy to. So don't second guess your depravity.
That should be on your shirt. Do not second guess your depravity. For some reason, I want to just drop the name of like African women authors, which is not, and I'll also answer the question.
Do it.
The one answer that is the one time
place and
Tiana
the
reads
time.
it. Huh? The one time Tiana reads is not the answer. So Nusa Ono, who is the self-proclaimed queen of African horror, and Tolo Tolo Talamasi, who wrote City, which is terrifying. So I just felt like my answer, besides Tiana Redo, my answer to everything else is communities. So find your community, lean into your community, let them pour into you as you pour into them.
It's a good answer.
That was lovely. All right. I think maybe we have like 5 minutes left. Just a little bit. So we have time for a few questions, but
We did see hands before.
hands. All right, go ahead. Tell me your question. I'll repeat it to everyone. Okay, so the question was, when you're writing your story, do you have an ending in mind or do you form it as you go along?
One of the scariest things about me to other writers is that I am an extreme outliner. I write like 10,000 word, 50-page outlines that are scene by scene before I ever write a word. So yes, I do know the
You're
ending.
a plotter.
Yeah, I am a severe plotter. I used to be a pantser when I was younger, but I have like chronic migraines, and one of the medications they put me on when I was a teenager gave me mental fog, and even after I got off that medication, I could never like face a blank page, and because I have a chronic illness, I don't like to waste any of my healthy time to work, so I just really, really, really love plotting.
For some reason, that makes my heart really happy. I just don't know why. I'm just like, yeah.
I think I'm a semi-plotter, mostly a pantser. I outline. I don't typically think about my end in detail. I may have like an idea of like where I want the story to end off at, but that may change as I go through the story. Yeah, exactly.
We have time for a couple more. Who else has questions? Yes.
Well, I'm coming at this from a young educator. I just finished my training, but what is a lesson you've learned either inside of school or outside of school that continues to be a key point in your life?
Okay, I'm going to repeat the question even though I'm pretty sure everybody heard it.
Yeah.
What is a lesson that you've learned in school or outside of school that, it's gone. What is it? That has been a key point in your life.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, like this is something my friends clown me on all the time, is that I chose a career where I constantly give myself homework. So in school, knowing the consequences of missing deadlines is something that has become very, very important in my day-to-day life.
That's a good question. I'm thinking about that. I feel like I haven't had I haven't had a lot of great teachers growing up. I don't know if that was...
Yeah, my best teacher was like my first grade teacher.
Yeah. Maybe my fourth grade teacher or my third grade teacher was probably the best. But as I reflect, I feel like my key lesson is that I don't know. I think even when you idolize somebody else, they may not idolize you back. And even though like having ADHD, maybe that's the reason why they didn't take so much care to me or invest in me so much. But even that in itself is a lesson to me, that because I'm a teacher's pet. I'm a brown noser. Even though I didn't have good grades, I was a brown noser. So I guess my lesson is, even when you idolize somebody else, they may not idolize you back. So be easy with your emotions, I guess.
I have two. So, Grit by Angela Duckworth, right? And I think I also learned this in school, like maybe 10% of your performance in a class or a subject is innate, and the rest is like what you're doing, what's going on in your life, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a good educator will allow that to sit with students, right? Like your grade is not just because you were born a genius, right? It's because your capacity to study, your time to study, how I'm teaching, the language that it's, a whole bunch of other stuff. The other thing is clap twice if you can hear my voice. Like I have a really small voice. I use that a lot, like clap once, clap twice, and then it's like the room is silent and people can hear me. I was like, this is amazing. So those are the two things.
Amazing. Well, I think that's all the time that we have today for our panel. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. You are amazing. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists, please?
Should we tell
I
them
also-
where they can find us elsewhere?
Yes. And now, let us know where they can find you on the internet or elsewhere.
Well, I'm at Lily Meade everywhere on pretty much every social platform. And you'll be able to find me here today and tomorrow. I have another panel at 2, the Compels Me Though, crafting a narrative. And then tomorrow at 2, I have a signing. But the bookstore doesn't have my books. So if you go over there and you don't see any, you can still, I'll have books at my table. And if you find me anywhere around here, I have bookmarks and Scooby snacks. So.
I have my Scooby snacks.
Yeah. It's candy, not dog food.
Again, my name is Gigi Murakami, horror manga and illustrator. I have a website. You can find me at ggmurakami.art. I'm also online everywhere, Gigi Murakami, except for Instagram, which is Gigi_Murakami. I also have another panel later today. Couldn't find it fast enough. I'm sure it's in the guide, though, and I have another panel tomorrow. So I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Yay. Sistah Scifi, sister with an H, everywhere, and website, SIFWA.org. And me personally, it's Isis Asare. You'll figure out how to spell it on most platforms. I have another panel today. I think it's at like 3 or 4. As you can tell, I'm not the best with time. It's Hustle and Hope. And then
I too will be on that panel. That was
yes, that's the thing. I was like, aren't we on the same panel? But I was like, maybe I'm confused. And then I'll be tabling on behalf of Sistah Scifi tomorrow because I could not get my life together today. Come by. I have some really cool Sistah Scifi bookmarks. People see them and they're always delighted. So you can come by and get a bookmark and like all the book recommendations you did not want. So, oh, Alphabet.
You need
Thank
a Google
you.
Doc of book recommendations. I would like those book recommendations.
Yes. Good. At least one person wants some Alphabet. I see you, girl. Your brave person did it. Thank you today.
All right. And I am Rachél Bazelais. I'm local game dev. You can find me at popular_pixels on any platform. And it was a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you all.